Welcome back. This is Expresso on SABC3. Time to head to the final frontier, space. We know it. It's cold and unforgiving. Now, on Wednesday of this week, the world celebrated as the European Space Agency ExoMars lander Schiaparelli touched down on the Martian surface. Unfortunately for everyone involved, it failed to respond during and after landing. So here to tell us what exactly happened, we have Jono Waltman from the South Africa's own Foundation for Space Development. Jono, lovely to have you back with us, my friend.
Great to be here.
Yeah, so we've been speaking about it. You know, we all like, the disappointment now that there's no signals, and what went wrong?
Well, Schiaparelli was part of the ExoMars mission, which was 2 spacecraft. And the one spacecraft is the trace gas orbiter that is orbiting Mars, and that worked perfectly. Okay. And that was actually the main part of the mission. Schiaparelli's job was to test to see if we could land on Mars using new technology. Okay. It was a 6-minute descent that had to use some heat shields and parachutes and retro-firing rockets. And 5 of those 6 minutes it worked fine. Okay. Unfortunately, we lost the signal on the 6th minute. We think it crashed hard into Mars. So there we see both spacecraft joined. There you can see Schiaparelli is separating from the TGO orbiter. Okay. Okay. That is the TGO. There we go. Sorry, there's a separation of Schiaparelli from the TGO. I see. And Schiaparelli was going to land in that soft area of Mars over there that we'd identified. And the TGO orbiter was supposed to move back off. And so here we see Schiaparelli's heat shield being tested. Yeah. Then it was to deploy parachutes. All of this happened. We have the data. It was relayed back to the TGO orbiter and back through Mars Express and through the Pune Observatory. The heat shield did eject as was planned, and then just with 50 seconds to go before touchdown, we know that the retro rockets, to slow it down, also fired, which we'll see now. They're those retro rockets. All right. But about 50 seconds before touchdown, it failed. And you can see at the bottom it had a crumple zone. It was supposed to use a crumple zone to land and soften the landing. Okay. But we think it ran out of gas, and we think that the parachutes deployed too early, and thus the test landing, when it always was a test, unfortunately failed. Okay, so basically this whole test, it was not so much about getting signals back to us here on Earth, but to test out the physical landing. But, I mean, it's very expensive to run a test like this, and we spoke about it a little bit earlier on. We've got a rover that's functioning on Mars, it's there. Why go through a different process? Is this really just to try and get costs down? Yeah, it's part of getting the costs down. So the European Space Agency doesn't have a rover. NASA has a rover doing science from their end. The European Space Agency is sending a rover in 2020. And they want to use a different landing system, a more efficient, cheaper landing system that can be used for other things. NASA uses a skyhook, which is very expensive because it has to float. It also limits the weight that you can land on Mars. This is much more efficient. You can carry a lot more weight. And so they were developing their own landing system. And the purpose was, knowing that this could crash, don't put a rover on this one. Okay. Test it out, get the data, find out if it works or not, then we can put a rover on. It's just such a lengthy process, but I'm sure they're going to go and do their research a bit more of how they can improve on this. But I mean, they're spending, what, 25 billion rand per pop. I mean, is that even worth it, would you say? I mean, to kind of do these experiments. Okay, now I think this is a really important point. You must remember that the 25 billion rand to build Schiaparelli and TGO and ExoMars was spent here on Earth. Yeah. That knowledge remains here. Those jobs remain jobs for people. None of that 25 billion rand is sitting in that actual loss. It's a few 100,000 rands worth of material. Yeah. But the experience, the knowledge, the jobs, all stay on Earth. The money spent in our economy. So yeah, absolutely, it's worth it. Jono, thank you so much, man. So ultimately, it was a success, if you look at it from that point of view. Ultimately a success. Love it. One step closer to walking on Mars, I guess, for us humans. Man, very exciting times indeed. But exciting times ahead on your Feel Good Breakfast show as well. Kat, over to you.